We're in a fantasy land where every round has a rose that blooms into a great addition to your team. And sometimes they sour, and it's pretty beastie. Yo! What's happening, everybody? It's Too Much Fantasy Football. It's Brian, it's Brennan, and it's a lovely cold open there. Me tying in the picture of the rose, the beauty, and the beast, maybe? Did you get it?
Yes, I got it. Folks, when you see the thumbnail, just know that I had nothing to do with it. I did approve of it, but it is none of my choice.
He didn't tell me no, folks. Yes, it is Beauty and the Bust episode. We are going round by round, picking our favorites, our least favorites, as it stands here in mid-June. How you doing today, man?
Doing pretty good. I've been looking forward to this. I think our rankings episode's gonna be coming up here soon, but we both have guys that we've been, loving and hating in each round, so we decided to kind of gander on that.
It's about that time. We got to mix and match it up. Check them out. Yeah, because I noticed we had a few linked up. We had the same picks, so we kind of swapped it up so we can mix up players here for you. But as we dive into the beginning, you're going to see it's pretty hard to deviate in the first round. But let's get
Yeah.
this party started. Can't tell you how much fun I had morphing
Oh my
Xavier
God.
Worthy's face into the Beast and then AJ Brown into Bell.
I have no words. I have zero words for that.
You know I'm tagging AJ Brown in this, seeing seeing
You're
if I
gonna
can get a
tag
little
it.
love on it.
Yes, yeah. And then you're probably gonna say the same thing I'm thinking in my head right now.
That AI is the worst. No, we take advantage of it when we can, folks. We love it. So round one here, we are going off Fantasy Pros ADP. They take a nice little mixture of Sleeper, ESPN, Yahoo, and some Best Ball. This should be as close as it's going to get come to August, but you know those hype stories are going to start hitting us in late July, and it's going to cause all sorts of chaos. But give me your first, I guess give me your star you got here in the first round.
So I have in the first round, like obviously you can differentiate. You have picks 1 through 12, so like it's a little bit different for me. So like the one that like I'd say like if realistically, because my luck for most redraft leagues, I rarely get the first 5 picks. So like I'll usually say I usually pick later, just my luck. I don't know how it is, just luck of the draw. But I'm going to take Christian McCaffrey. Like I think this is probably like what you can say the final year you'll get him at a discount at like he's going at pick 11. If I'm at pick 7, 8, I mean I'm probably hitting Christian McCaffrey before I pick Malik Neighbors, Puka, Amon Ra, Nico. I know that Shanahan's going to make him the featured back. I know that the ceiling is 1,000. So it's a little bit of everything, and he's going to get the goal line work. So I just, for me, it's just like this is the final year of a discount, and I want to take advantage of that discount.
This might be the last year I don't have just the age fear too. Like next year, no matter if he finishes the RB1 this year, we're still gonna have the fear next year because it's that age starts
Yeah.
compounding. I mean, it's the reason Derrick Henry fell to where he did last year. I'm gonna go with the easy one. I feel like I always hesitate with the first three guys in ADP when I have that top pick. I always want to get cute and shy away from one of those top guys, but this year put my stamp of approval. I think Bijan is as locked in as it can get. Obviously, injury can happen, but without injury, Bijan should just see a ridiculous workload. The target share last year had 13% target share. That's amazing. They didn't add any pass catchers to this team, so we shouldn't see any reason for it to fluctuate in a grand scale. So Bijan just between through the air on the ground. This team, I've got high hopes for him. At least that 10, 11 win team. So give me Bijan as my locked in star for round one.
I guess my only thing for him is that like the breakaway. He doesn't have those breakaway, bursts. Is that like are you expecting that to change, or you just think it's just more of a volume play for him?
I think that's where it's kind of locked in with the volume. So whether he can or can't do that in these things, I think you can kind of leave that ambiguous just on the fact of, again, the workload that he's going to get, the target share. The rusher, 67% last year. Tyler Algier's there. He is going to take a chunk, but Bijan is going to get plenty. And if this offense is moving just a little bit better than it did last year, touchdown upside should be there. He was also third in missed forced tackle rate last year, so may not be breaking off the big ones, but he's getting chunks. He's getting the big chunks that you want to see.
Yeah, the dude can juke you out in a phone booth. So,
Give me your con, the guy that you're staying away from here in round one.
we both had the same guy. I mean, we shuffled around things, but for me, it's Puka. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, it's scary. Like, I think it's, I trust Sean McVay. I think it's more so like I think it's a ripple down effect. Like Matthew Stafford is, I think he's the second oldest quarterback in the league behind Aaron Rodgers. Um, Obviously, health is a bit of concern. Puka's health's a bit of a concern. And then they added Devontae Adams, who is a red zone threat. So, like, I think his numbers for touchdowns are going to be regressed just because Devontae Adams is a legit red zone threat. So for me, it's like I want the guy who's the alpha, the dominant, and I still think Devontae Adams is that. He didn't show any signs to me last year that there is regression for him. I think he still showed he's an elite wide receiver, so they have two of them now, and I just think they'll both get some decent share of work, and I just think where he's going right now currently as like around 10, like he's a wide receiver 5. I think he can probably finish like that's probably his ceiling this year, and I don't want his ceiling. I want to draft to where I know he can finish above that. I'd be how shocked would you be if Puka finished as wide receiver 1?
Not really.
Oh, really? Okay. I'd be kind of shocked just because of the guys that are there and everything else like that. So for me, I just think it's more of like it just makes me nervous.
For me, so that's the hard thing with this. We're picking essentially busts in round one. It's very
Yeah.
difficult because I mean we're gonna have guys that won't finish here, but it's almost dumb to just flat out say guaranteed it's not. It's purely injury. If you take out the injury part, he has the elite target per route run, yards
Hmm.
per route run. He's just best of the best when it comes to that, and he's getting tips from one of the best route runners we've ever seen in Devontae Adams right now. So I do think that maybe we could see a touchdown cap with him a bit because of Adams, but that's exactly what Cooper Kupp did there. We saw the two of these guys thrive. So I think it's just kind of the double injury that you're watching because of not only him, but like you said, Matt Stafford. If Matt Stafford's gone, then Pook is definitely going to take a hit. But if all stays healthy, I think this guy, the ceiling is there for him.
No, I agree with that.
Nice. Well, let's go to round two here. Give me that star. Who do you like here
Wait,
in
who
round
was your
two?
best in round one? You,
Oh, I didn't even say my bust.
yeah, come
So my bust was
on.
Puka. I saw Brennan pick it,
Yes.
so I kind of slid down. Amon Ra is going to be my bust. I'm going to say wide receiver 6. I just kind of see that as his ceiling, especially going into the season. The offensive line took a hit. We lost both coordinators. The team is due for some regression. Jared Goff's passing touchdown rate is just an absurd number. So if we can get Amon Ra closer to 4 or 5 touchdowns, which seems kind of absurd if he can only get that, somewhere in that 4, 5, 6, I think that'll really limit him to a wide receiver 6 ceiling, and that's best case scenario. So for me, I've kind of got him a little closer to wide receiver 10, wide receiver 12 this year. Still an amazing talent.
Yeah.
But if I have to pick out of 12 players, these would be the two that I would be more hesitant to push the button.
Let me ask you, where is the sweet spot then for you to take Amon Ra? It's not the first round, so like where in the second round are you like, okay, this is too far. He's easily better than everybody else here.
I mean, you got Lad McConkey going as wide receiver 11. I feel like he is just the professional version of Lad. Not to say he's not a pro, but Lad's still only going into year 2. Give him a
Yeah.
couple of years, who knows? His ceiling could be higher than what we've seen from Amon Ra. But they're the same player. They're that dirty slot player. They can get it done. They are amazing. But it's still just looking at their physical stature. Just sometimes that I like seeing a Nico Collins standing there as my wide receiver 1 than one of these guys. I'd rather have
Yeah.
an elite wide receiver 2 from one of them.
Yeah. True X Factor type.
No, round 2. So
Okay.
we're looking at like some Derrick Henrys, BTJs, Brock Bowers, Josh Jacobs, Trey McBrides. Where are you going for your grab?
Yeah. So for me, again, like you made this, so you had your little first pickings. So I'm not gonna lie, I was like, dang, I really like some of these guys that you picked. So I had to like, pivot a little bit. But for me, I've been taking a ton of Drake London, dude, like in best ball. For me, I just like, when I saw with what I saw with basically Michael Penix, we saw he took over week 16,
Yeah.
I think it was. So like it was wide receiver 45, wide receiver 25, and then wide receiver one against Carolina, and it was a make or break game for them. It was like, they were trying to get into the playoffs. I mean, he had 10 receptions, 187 yards. I mean, but even when he was wide receiver 25, he was 7 receptions, 105 yards, and so like. I just think if we can just get right there on 8 receptions, right under 100 yards, throwing a touchdown here and there, I will take that all day to the bank.
Hey, I was beating the drum for Drake London last year, and it still continued this year. I just figured, I need to pick somebody new here.
Mm-hmm.
It took everything in me not to grab Rashi Rice when we get to
Yeah,
that
I was
point.
like, yeah, I was gonna sit there and like, no, everyone's probably gonna be like, that's annoying. How many times they say Rashi Rice?
Hey, folks, anybody who keeps count of how many times we say Rashi Rice from this episode to the start of the season, we got a sweet little prize for you. Rashi Rice, Rashi Rice, Rashi Rice. Oh, I can't even say it fast.
Jesus.
All right, so my beauty in round 2, it's going to be AJ Brown. It just feels like he should be going so much closer to that 1-2 turn. This is an Eagles team that was they were 31st in pass rate last year. Almost 200 less passes than the number 1 overall team in the league. So we can get that a little close to the medium. They cannot run Saquon the way they did last year. It's just historically we've never seen it work out that well, or for running back to get that many touches unless your name is Derek freaking Henry. So they just paid him a lot of money too. So this isn't just going to be one more year for him. They're going to hope to get 2-3 more years out of the guy. So if that's the case, we're going to see a little bit more passing. So give me AJ Brown in this elite offense. The defense is going to be great, so they're going to be set up in good positions. 34% target share for AJ Brown last year. Like, that's unfreaking canny. I think he was number 2 in the league on that.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I love AJ Brown. I think AJ Brown's a smash and grab at round 2. You're getting him at the lowest discount this year we've seen, because previously he's been a little bit higher. So yeah, I'm right there with you on that one.
Give me your bust. Who is your bust in round 2?
So again, we both have the same guy, but I'll talk about him. It's Bucky Irving. I think we're both into the same. It's just I think we can both say he's an anomaly. Like, his snap percentage he averages like right at 50% snap percentage, maybe a little bit more. I would say like maybe I give him 60%, and he's he finished as what, RB6. It's like, how does that equivalate? Like, you have such a low snap percentage in your RB6. Like, it's the breakaway. It's the breakaway. I don't know if we're going to see that again. I mean, a new offensive coordinator. I think obviously Bucky's the most talented out of the back, but we've heard them say they want Sean Tucker involved. They want Rashad White involved. I don't know if it's coach talk or anything else like that, but like, again, like, I get weirded out when I see him. I'm just like, I feel weird taking him as my RB1, knowing that his snap percentage is like right under 60%, and I want a guy who's got a little bit more higher volume than that.
I agree with you. And unfortunately, you can almost paint it in both directions, because when you look at it, he only had 51% of the total rush shares for this team. So when you look at it, you're like, all right, there's room for him to get more. But then you also look at his 5'10", 195 frame. He's on the smaller side of what you want for your running back. So, that's half to like 2/3% of the work is probably more for what he's built. Like, not exactly built to be a workhorse guy. Sean Tucker, we saw him have an amazing game. I'm with you on that one. I love him as a late round best ball grab, just to see what he could do on one individual week as far as explosive play. And then also with Bucky, it's it's the ceiling, man. I just don't know where he can truly fall. This team is, it's another OC. It looks like Baker isn't affected, but the team overall could be, in a different place as far as just the OC change. So Bucky just seems like a risk to take here in round 2, more of a luxury pick that I'd rather wait for a round 3 value on him.
Yeah. Who's your bust?
Oh boy, I hate saying this. I really do. I've been a huge fan. As a Colts fan, I was bummed that we missed out on T. Higgins when he went just a couple picks before, when we took our wide receiver. No knocks there, Pittman. But yeah, T. Higgins he's a big old dude. Just the size you want, the 6'4", 220. We've seen it out there that he can be an alpha, but better yet, he gets to be one of the best alpha or secondary guys on the team behind Jamar Chase. If we can get him healthy, I know you extrapolate those numbers and it's unreal. But we're banking on, not that it can't happen. We see it happen where multiple teammates finish in the top 12 each year. but we're drafting him as that, and that just scares me. I'd rather be taking him as wide receiver 16. Drafting him to finish as a wide receiver 2, and then he can, expand on those expectations and give me something higher. But just taking him where he is, I like so many other guys in this range. Like, I'd rather take shots at some of these wide receivers in the third round over him. Or Trey McBride goes right after.
Yeah, it's again like if he was, he goes as wide receiver 12 because that's what he typically finishes as. He has just like such amazing boom weeks. Like I think against that like the Broncos game, like he was finished as like wide receiver 3 that week or something similar to that. Like it's so hard to not want to take him, but at the same time, like again, like not bringing up injuries, it's like he does have hamstring issues, and that is a reoccurring injury. Like that's just like again, like once you pull it, it tends to be a little more aggravating to get back into it. And then honestly, Zach Taylor has used him as a decoy before too, where he's healthy, he's good to go, he was limited all week, and then you just play 0% of snaps, and I think like that also burns me a little bit too.
It would also the contract, folks. If you weren't around for free agency season, T. Higgins did get a contract extension with the Bengals, but it's funky. He gets a significant amount of money for each game that he plays. We've also seen T. Higgins play 8% or less of a game. He goes out there for a snap or two, realizes, oh, I can't do this, and he's out. That's actually worse than him missing a game. If he's out, you can put him on your IR. You're putting him on your bench. You know what to do. But when it's up in the air, I feel good. I think I'm going to go out there. Yeah, you're going to go out there. Go get that $1 million paycheck for the week. Of course you are. That only hurts us, folks. So if you don't want to be stuck in that position having to choose, I'd fade away from him.
Yeah.
Round 3.
Well, shocker. I wonder who my beauty is.
Let's go ahead and knock this one off the board here. Who is that beauty in round 3?
The beauty is Rashee Rice, man. This is an area of wide receivers. And I think it's just more so it's where this area is of just like it's Garrett Wilson, JSN, Terry, Marvin, Tyreek, and then there's Rashee Rice. And I mean, I said it last year. Rashee Rice was the biggest discount, and he was because week 1, 7 receptions, 103 yards. Week 2, 5 receptions, 75 yards and a touchdown. Week 3, 12 receptions, 110 yards and a touchdown. Like again, people were like, "Well, it's slants and it's just it's screens." It's like cool. You had what's going to change right now? They have
That's
now
the NFL right now.
Yeah.
Look at Ladd. Look at Amon-Ra. Guys that were fading a little bit, but they're successful. They're just annoying how they're successful.
Exactly. Like the dude's really good at yak. Like again, like I know he's coming off a really bad injury. Again, he's fine. He's at camp. He's running. They said he looked completely normal, completely fine. So I'm going to take potentially, in my opinion, what's going to be Mahomes' number 1 target. And I think you're going to get, like, this is what we've been chasing since like the Tyreek Hill, that prime 2018, at Mahomes and everything else like that. And I'll take my gamble all day long with Rashee Rice.
Yeah, give it to me. I love it. Absolutely love it. More of my argument comes next round, but my beauty in this round, we're going to grab a quarterback. I don't typically grab quarterbacks this early, but we've got Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson going here in round 3. I think they're a slam dunk, and Lamar just, I can't not do it. I've been grabbing a lot more Lamar than I typically do in best ball this year. Is 41 touchdowns. Is he going to, replicate that again? I bet he's closer to, 31 than he is 41 this year. But even with that, the rushing, the floor he gets from that, this elite defense, the great running back, so the threat that he has with them loading the box, there's just so many great intangible things that hit Lamar Jackson. He's still in his prime. We got a couple more years before we really have to worry about Lamar and his legs.
Yeah, like Lamar is such an easy, again, like 40 touchdowns is super high. I don't think he'll replicate that, but like again, if he gets 35 and the same amount of rushing yards, a little bit of the same rushing touchdowns, like you're very happy with it. Because like again, like the chances of somebody behind him throwing for 40 touchdowns and doing even more than him is just, I feel like it's impossible. Like I think you and I both agree he should have been the MVP last year. He literally had better stats than Josh Allen in every metric possible, except for I forgot. I think there's one stat that Josh Allen had him in, but every other stat, it was Lamar was better than him in everything.
Lamar wanted 2023. His stats in 2024 were way better than 2023. So it was hard not to go back to him. Multi-time MVP. I bet he wins it at least one more time over the next year or two. It's just, he's too great an athlete and a football player.
Yeah.
All right, bus time. Round 3 bus. Who is it? You've mentioned his name already here on the pod just a minute ago.
Yeah.
Let's bring
Again,
him in.
so it's this wide receiver area, and it's more so I'm scared. Like I think there's multiple factors to it. Like Devon Achan had over 100 targets. Jonnu Smith was on a pace for over 100 targets. Tyreek Hill is, he's 31. I mean, that's probably right where the cliff hits for wide receiver. I mean, even when Tua was healthy from like week 8 to like week 15, he was like wide receiver 41, wide receiver 30, wide receiver 23, wide receiver 15, wide receiver 40, 12, and then he had one really good week against the Jets for wide receiver 6. But again, like you took him as wide receiver 1 and last year. Now you're taking him as wide receiver. It looks like, what is it, 16? Wide
17
receiver
right now.
17. It could be a discount. It really could be. But again, like if Jonnu Smith and Devon Achane are there, and along with Waddle, like there's a lot of options there, and I just don't know if Tyreek Hill is going to command it. And like the news, the first thing I see when I click on Tyreek Hill is like, oh, he's catching passes. I'm like, that's what he should be doing. Like I don't know, like you're getting me excited. He's catching passes. Like I get it. He got some screws removed from his wrist surgery, which is a common thing. But like it's scary. The guys there, I think like JSN, I think gives me a little more excitement. Marvin Harrison, I think I can see them. I can see much more of an improvement, and I can see Tyreek Hill maybe taking a backseat. And I'm a little scared. And I think that's what it comes down to.
I'd take Tyreek Hill over Terry McLaurin, who's going 2 spots ahead of him.
If hold on, if Terry signs a deal, are you scared? Are you going to take that back or no?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not about the contract.
No, it has nothing to do with his contract.
Okay.
It's purely just. If this is I had to have taken a wide receiver in the first round. I don't want to take either one of those guys as my wide receiver 1.
Yeah, so that's a scary thing too, because there's a possibility right when you enter round 3, you're taking your first wide receiver, and like this is like, and so like when I'm starting to like build like do redraft things, I need to take an early wide receiver or like a tight end like Trey McBride or Brock Bowers to make myself feel a lot better having one of those guys being wide receiver 1.
Yeah, McBride's a nice pivot if you're up in the air on
Yeah,
which guy you want to take right here. He's a
yeah,
nice pivot.
he is.
All right, my bust it is going to be it's Kyren Williams. It's Kyren. RB12. It's actually right where I have him statted out right now, is right in that RB12 range. So huge bust, not really. I just don't see his explosion rate is not pretty. The amount of touches he gets great. The target share is not great. So when you bring in Jarquez Hunter, another guy that looks just like Kyren except a little bit more explosive, the passing game might be a little bit more fluid. I think we had a point in time last year where Kyren was scoring all of the team's touchdowns for like 8 weeks or 6 weeks, something like that. Matt Stafford was on a drought. Those things happen, and they come and go with every season. But I don't know. Kyren's just not as he's not that sexy second round pick. I want to put my my clicker on when I go in there to draft.
Yeah, like I get it, and I think also you're a Jarquez Hunter stan, so I think there's that
More than I
anomaly with
should.
you. Yeah, so no, but like I think Kyron Williams is a very safe RB. I think like you're going to get out of him. Maybe they do work in other guys, but like last year everyone was really scared about him because like he's taking punts. Like it was just this whole thing. I mean, like I can see the path of where he just finishes as RB12, and obviously you don't want to take the guy at the floor. You want the ceiling. You want that high upside play, and I think I could see that for Kyron. They can Sean McVay working in other guys and making things a little more easier on the offense. So I can see it.
Honestly, I could have put all 3 running backs that are going in this round right here because they all incite the same ability to finish top 3 while also giving you some reason to just absolutely destroy the capital. That being Brees Hall at
Yeah,
RB13, Kyron at 12, and then Chase Brown at 11. Very
I almost made Brees Hall my
similar.
star. Almost did, but it's hard when you see Rashi Rice.
I flip flop every week on whether or not I'm into the Jets players this year.
Yeah.
All right, round 4. Here we go. It's time for. Let's start with the bust. Let's get
Okay.
the bust out of here on round 4. We'll finish round 4 on a high note. Who's yours?
For me, like I had 2 guys, and so I'm kind of back and forth. I just have a hard time taking George Kittle in this area, and a lot of guys love him. Like, and I get that. Like, he now is. It's seeming like he's going to be the number one option in this offense. It's like, I would say really he's probably 2 or 3, just because like we don't know what's going to essentially happen. But he was great last year. Like he truly was. Like no really bad weeks, except for I think he had 2 bad weeks all last year. tight end 50 and tight end 32, and the rest were all tight end 12 or better. And typically it's like tight end 7 or better, to be honest with you. So like you're expecting that, but like I think it was just more so that had to do with game script for this 49ers team. And so for me, we've seen weeks where Shanahan had just made him as a pure blocker and just had CMC run the rock or CMC use them in screens and outlets and everything else like that. So I think people saw last year how great he did, and they're just expecting the same, replica. And I can see that. I think this team, I think Shanahan's one of the great minds in the offense. I think he's going to adapt and, he will always change things up. So I think he will have a lot more dud weeks than you think will happen. I know it was a lot of green, a lot of greatness, but there's something in me that just saying Shanahan will adapt to whatever he sees. And if CMC's healthy all year long, I think that eats into George Kittle.
I'm coming on to that side of the argument more and more as his ADP rises. He was on the 5-6 turn, I feel like
Yeah,
just about a month ago,
he
and I was
was.
clicking that as much as I could. Now I'm in the fourth round and I'm sitting there going through who I want. I'm like, why is George Kittle in my ADP for round four? Like that, it's not a bad price, especially when we only have three guys that are locked in to give you consistency through this year. So for the position, I understand it, but damn, that discount we were getting was great.
It was a really good discount, I will say. Yeah, like there's like I was like I mean like I like Devonta Smith more. Like I think I'd rather have Devonta Smith as like my wide receiver 2 or 3 in that position than George Kittle as my tight end 1.
I'd agree with you. There's a lot of guys in this round that I'd take, but one I wouldn't take. It's Xavier Worthy, Kansas City wide receiver,
Mm.
going as wide receiver 22 right now, 43 overall. Look, I get it. We had a soft breakout from him at the end of last season, but I mean, the biggest piece, what we just talked about, Rashi Rice was not there. We saw his yards per target drop by almost over 4 yards in that time period, in that breakout from week 8, week 10 on, where he kind of took over. So they were using him more in that Rashi Rice role. He wasn't excelling, getting these huge bombs, doing the things that, with his speed that you would expect. They were just putting him in that role. So once Rashi Rice comes back, you're going to get Worthy more. I think he's going to be closer to like wide receiver 36 this year. So drafting him as a low end wide receiver 2 is a huge overpay. This guy is going to have some great games. He's going to have some big catches, maybe some double touchdown weeks, but I'm not taking him up this high. I cannot do it. We've never seen Patrick Mahomes support 2 wide receivers. Why would he do it now? Because Travis Kelce, he's coming back. He's not as good as he once was, but he's going to be just enough a thorn in the side where I think we cannot get 2 consistent pieces out of this offense.
No, I agree with you there. Yeah, I think I think what they saw last year, and then obviously the Super Bowl, he catches the touchdown, the big touchdown. I think they can see, people can forget about Rishi Rice really quickly,
Yeah.
and then just like, oh, Xavier Worthy, second year, and I again we can touch on the same points that when their sophomore season as a wide receiver, that's usually when they blossom and they become who they are. So I can definitely see that. Um, so yeah, I'm right there with you, but I wouldn't be opposed to him as much. I'd be scared that if he was my wide receiver too, I'd be kind of squirming a little bit.
Yeah, I like the DJ Moores, the Mike Evans, the Tedero McMillan, even, even DK Metcalf.
I'm
I
coming
would
around on
rather take the
DK.
swing on
Yeah,
those guys over Worthy. So it's purely the price. I like him as a piece of on my team. I'd love to have him on my team, but just not where you're paying.
yeah.
All right, let's spin this around. Where are those beauties? Who you got?
It's so hard because you picked Lamar and I'm picking Jaden as my beauty in this round. Like it's just I think he's someone I'd probably smash and grab right here. He's a part of that last group of the top 4 guys, and I want a piece of the pie because some of the leagues I play in are 4 passing touchdown, and I obviously when you have a rushing guy who's can rush in for touchdowns, it's amazing. I mean, so he finished as QB 6 last year. Take away the game where he got broken ribs. I think it was week 7 because after week 7 he finishes QB 30. Week 8, 9, 10, 11, it was QB 11, QB 11, QB 24, 24. So he had some rib injuries, which I'm sure that's probably going to be miserable. He gets healthy again, and week 12 it's QB 1, QB 2, QB 7, QB 1, QB 4. I mean, I, so obviously you can't predict injuries, but it seems like if he just not gotten injured with the ribs, he'd probably finish right behind Lamar and Josh Allen is right where we're taking him. And again, that's his ceiling. I'm okay with him being QB 3 behind guys like Lamar, and Josh Allen. And when he's entering in that MVP discussion, like I want that guy.
Yeah.
And he got Debo. He got a little better options. He got improved offensive line. Like, I mean, Brian Robinson's there, and so is Austin Eckler. Doesn't matter. This dude can scramble in the last second, and that's what I want. I want my quarterback to be able to be mobile and run and be able to break away for 20-plus yards for a touchdown.
They just need to go get Keenan Allen, push him over the top. Have a big trio of 29 and older running back or wide receivers. It would be.
And he's still great for them, honestly. I mean, like, dude,
I think
Keenan's
so
still a
too.
good route runner. So
Keenan had great numbers last year. I think if he goes either there or Pittsburgh, we could still see some usability out of Keenan
I'm
this
really
year.
curious why Keenan hasn't signed yet. Like, I'm
Which
very
he is.
curious.
He didn't want to work out.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know. So I guess the biggest thing with Jaden Daniels, him being the star in this round for you, it's not only him and his ability, but it's the fact that Joe Burrow's going just a few picks behind him. And if I've got a choice between the two, and I'm taking Jaden Daniels every single time, like
Mhm.
every single time, just because of the rushing upside.
Yeah. I can't think of a world where I'd take Joe Burrow over Jaden Daniels.
No, 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 unless it's a passing only league.
Yeah.
All right, give me Walker as my star, my beauty in this round. It's funny, I've never really gotten to speak on Kenneth Walker and really like digging in and him being a guy that I'm really excited to draft. But this year, for whatever reason, it's the spinner hit him, and I'm all over me some Kenneth Walker. He had some injuries last year. It was a bum, but not to play him at that point. You're sitting him. Outside of that, he only had 2 games that hurt you last year. 3 in total that were outside of the top 20, but 2 games that only hurt you. Outside of that, this guy was great. 76% rush share, 13% target share. Now we're changing the offensive coordinator, but we're getting a better one, in my opinion. We got Clint Kubiak coming up here from New Orleans, who had just an elite first 2 weeks there before
Yeah.
the team just fell apart.
The Saints looked like they're going to be the best team in the world. So
They did. We were sitting there scratching our heads in week 3 going, all right, well, Saints are one of those undefeated teams we have to put up on the graphic about who's going to be the last one standing, unfortunately.
exactly.
But Kenneth Walker coming into year 4, he's looking for a contract extension or to show off for his new team that he goes to in free agency next year. When it's him, he's the guy. They're adding in motion to this offense, a little bit more play action, all things that should help the quarterback and the running backs thrive. And it's Sam Darnold. Do we really want to put the game in his hand? No! Let's put it in Kenneth Walker's.
I don't mind Kenneth Walker as my RB2. I think people are just like, I think it's a lot more like the Sharks, and the Sharp people are just like, but Zach Charbonnet is so good. And I agree with you. I think Shaq Charbonnet is really good as a running back.
Sure.
But again, I think a world where they both can exist though in this offense. But Kenneth Walker is the lead guy in this back. And again, whenever he plays, he's really good. It's just everyone, cringes because he has missed time. He hasn't been, a model of health, so to speak. But again, it's just if he's your RB2 though, I'm super excited. So I'm right there with you.
Hey, we talked about Saquon's injuries until we didn't, so who
Yeah,
knows? Ken Walker, give me
it's
that
true.
year. All right, round 5. Let's go into it. Who's the bust?
My bust is Joe Mixon, and I think it's just more so of the fact that like this, it's the offensive line, man. Like really, when it comes down to it, what did the Texans do to the offensive line? They shipped off away Laramie Tunsil, which again, I know enough Texans fans. Like the dude just has enough false starts and everything else like that, so they're probably just excited to get him out of there. Uh, you know, but again, like you're having a very inexperienced offensive line to start this season, and you're hoping that it's just going to be either a really good passing line or a really good run line. And it just scares me. And they added Nick Chubb, who's still a really good runner of the football.
Yeah, I'm going to snowball on this. This is going to be my bust as well. Joe Mixon, man, I am not clicking that button anywhere. We saw some great fantasy usage from last year. He also had one of the highest 5-zone attempt rate last year. So you bring in Nick Chubb, a guy who's great on the the downfield run away from people, but the age, the injury, so he's a great goal line. You take away some goal line work from Joe Mixon, like you said, the offensive line's not great. We have Woody Marks back there who could potentially
Yeah,
cut into some of the pass catching work. Joe Mixon's older. He's dealing with an ankle injury right now. He's dealt with injuries in the past. It's a compounding of situations of things like that. And there's like Alvin Kamara's going right above him. I'll click that one way before I'm clicking Joe Mixon. James Conner is going just a few picks behind him. It's kind of the same feeling. James Conner's not sexy, but his team has been top three in breakaway run-ins over the last 2 years. So I'd rather play on that than Joe Mixon, who has been just a shell of himself.
Yeah, like, and you just touched on Woody Marks. Like, his profile is a receiving back. So, like, I'm looking at Joe Mixon's, targets receptions. Like, oh, he gets a good amount of receptions, like four. I'd say anywhere from like 6 to like 3 receptions a game. I could definitely see Woody Marks coming in and just making that, making maybe like a couple receptions only here and there. So I think everything just, did not fall his way. He got the contract, so good for him, but I just think they added more pieces maybe to make him, more readily available for the playoffs. Like, a lot of teams do that. A lot of teams will sign guys where they just feel like they just need to make him readily available for the playoffs if they need to.
And that was the hard part with Joe Mixon in the playoffs. Last 4 games of the season, 32, 34, 38, 52. So yeah, definitely had a great beginning of the season, minus those 3 injured games, but he couldn't hold it together. So like the 13 5 zone attempts, you take away 40%, give it to Nick Chubb, 12% target share, which is great. It's elite for what you want in fantasy. But Woody Marks takes 3, 4, 5% away from that. Joe Mixon's standing there on the table getting wrapped up and not out there on the field for you. So sorry, buddy. Who's
Yeah.
your star though? Who you got? Who's the beauty?
I have 2 stars, so I really have a hard time picking. I think it's more so just with this area of like where everybody's going. So like I'll say like I'll say my one. It's you're getting him at the biggest discount you'll ever get him, and it might either be the trajectory of it's a downfall or it's just everyone's scared of what's happened with this team, and it's Jalen Waddle. You're getting him at wide receiver 29, and all he's ever been is just finished 1,000 yards 3 consecutive seasons, and then obviously Tua getting hurt. They don't really have a backup plan for a quarterback. I get it. I just think wide receiver 29 is you're saying that he's just this, I guess, bum, so to speak. He's just this average guy. And Jalen Waddle's not that. Jalen Waddle's a receptions king. I just, I think I'm going to be drafting a lot of Jalen Waddle. And I think, either it makes or break my year, but I'll gamble on the guy who's been a consistency of 1,000 yards and go with it from there.
It's a hard thing. Round five, it's not a throwaway round. You still need some sort of contributor. You hope to have a contribution from your round five pick, but I'm taking him over Jamison Williams. I'm taking him over Zay Flowers. George Pickens, I think, has the same amount of extreme where he could fall. Jalen Waddle could be anywhere from wide
The
receiver
boom
40
game.
to wide receiver
Yeah.
10. And I think Pickens, I'm starting to roll more into what I could get out of him. So depending on roster construction, purely is who you're kind of picking between those two for me. But I love Jalen Waddle. My too many of my logos on DraftKings and Underdog and stuff like that are Jalen Waddle. It's just one of my favorite players out there. So I'm fully with you on the star.
Yeah.
Let's talk about an unsexy pick here in round five because I found myself laughing when I was looking. I was like, look, this is the guy I'm going with. This is who we're doing it. And it's Cortland Sutton. Yeah, I know. The guy going into year 8. The guy that after the ACL tear in year 2 or 3 hasn't really been himself, but I'm running it back. What did Denver do? They addressed the running back room. Of course, it's great. This wide receiver room, it's the same. They still have mediocre talent in Vele, in oh my gosh, I'm Marvin Mims
Marvin Mims, Troy
and
Franklin,
Troy Franklin.
Evan Ingram.
All they brought in was Evan Ingram to play that Joker role. So even if Evan Ingram does cut into some of the targets, some of the receptions a little bit, Evan Ingram has never been a touchdown guy, unfortunately. No matter how hard I root for the guy, he's never truly been a touchdown guy. And that's where Cortland Sutton was thriving last year. He had 7 red zone touchdowns last year. So if he is still that target when they get in close, when they're there, when Bo Nix look at him, like the guy's 6'4", of course he's going to be a red zone target. So I just think right there at the end, as your like low end wide receiver 2, if you can get him as a high end wide receiver 3, I just think it is going to be absolute gold to be able to sub into your lineup or put into your flex spot.
Yeah, I like Sutton as like your wide receiver 2. I preferably wide receiver 3, and I think
Yeah,
it's like the
he's going to
possibility here.
26 right now, so
And you
hopefully he
touched
goes
on it. I
3.
mean, like Bo Nix was rough his first 6 weeks, and then he finally started to figure it out with Sean Payton, and then so did Cortland Sutton. He figured it out with him. So I'm right there with you. I think there's a lot of highs and lows with Sutton, and I think that's what you're alluding to with that. I think Sutton's a good play. I mean, at the end of the day, like if you really think Marvin Mims is going to take over as a X factor, or Deshaun Vele, who's entering age 27 as a second year guy, and then Troy Franklin, who's very undersized, like I think Cortland Sutton's probably going to be at the very minimum in a Sean Payton offense, second in targets. Whether it's Evan Ingram getting first or even RJ Harvey, whatever the case may be, like I mean, I'll take a piece of that.
Yeah, after week 8, so he's going as wide receiver 26. After week 8, he only had 2 games where he didn't hit that ADP of wide receiver 26 or higher. And one of those was wide receiver 31. So it didn't kill you. He still gave you points. Only one of those games did he truly kill your lineup. It was the first week of the playoffs, but that's irrelevant here.
Yeah.
Alrighty, folks. We got 4 more rounds, or a few more rounds we're going to blow through. We're going to see if we can get these lightning. We're just going to throw them off as quick as we can. So let's go ahead and start with the beauties in round 6.
Beauties in round 6 for me, it's Travis Hunter for sure. I mean, again, they took him at second overall pick, but he's a DB. He's right. He is literally only playing offense, and he'll have sub packages in the defense, which I bet you it's probably just gonna be a third down plays and everything else like that. This guy, if again, me and Brian touched on it last year, he would have probably been our wide receiver 3 last year in the draft. I had him ahead of Roma Dunze as a wide receiver. So they're getting this guy at pick 2. He's opposite of Brian Thomas Jr., which makes his life easier. He's going to open up the offense a lot more. I still like Trevor Lawrence. They lost Evan Ingram. I mean, I have a feeling Travis Hunter is going to be second in targets on this team.
Lightning must really linger there in San Diego, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, Travis Hunter. Round 6 a little rich for me. There's some other guys here I like some more. One in particular is going to be Calvin Ridley, going at wide receiver 35. This guy had 1,000 yards last season with Will, hey, are you going to eat that banana peel Levis? So I just think his potential. Mason Rudolph. He actually had some pretty good games with Rudolph.
He did.
So I wasn't gonna besmirch him too much. But Cam Ward, he's got that screw it attitude and likes to throw it deep. So Calvin Ridley loves to go down there. I just think he's going to return on that. That's where he finished last year. And if you think Ward's just any better than Levis, then yeah, he should be way closer to wide receiver 24 than 36.
Yeah, I like Calvin too here.
Busted up.
Yeah, my bust. It hurts because I have I have a decent amount of stock in him from last year. It's Roma Dunze, and I think it's just more so the fact that like a lot of mouths to feed in this offense. I don't know if he's going to be dominant. He had some games that were dominant last year, but again, it's a new offensive coordinator. His first 2 picks were tight end and wide receiver. And I like Luther Burden as a prospect. So it's just like, all right, now there's DJ Moore. Now there's Roma Dunze. Now there's Luther Burden. There's DeAndre Swift. There's Colston Loveland. There's also Cole Kmet. Like, it's just, you can take that. That's a 5-sided coin flip you want to take on who do you think is going to be the guy. I like Rome, but I'm scared.
I feel you. Sam Laporta going at tight end 4, going here in the 6th round. Folks, this is called middle round tight end territory. We do not bite. No matter how juicy it looks, no matter the expectations, I'm out. And I think I'm just finding a way to like talk trash about every single Lions player so far here in ADP. Unfortunately, I like the Lions, but not this year.
Fair enough.
All right, round 7. My beauty is going to be Aaron Jones. Yes, I've got an itch. My love for him is just reblossomed. I don't know why. It's going into year 30, 31 for him. So not a smart bet, but just the usage that this team is going to rely on the running backs just to make sure that JJ McCarthy is set up. The added offensive lineman, his passing percentage out on this offense is just elite for what you want for a mid-round running back. So give me Aaron Jones.
Fair enough. My love for this round, it's DeAndre Swift. I saw what he did with the Eagles. I get it. He's not a good goal line back. Don't need to be a goal line back. Just need to finish a bit ahead of RB28, and I think he definitely can do that on this line. They revamped it. He averaged 4.6 yards a carry when the Eagles were at their best offensive line. I think he can get right around there. Again, he's going as RB29. I fully expect him to be right around like RB20 to 21. So I'm drafting him in the hopes of that he will improve the capital. And I think he's definitely a good receiving back. So I'm all for it.
Nice. My bust, Quinshon Judkins. I'm already going to throw it out here. He's going to be one of my 2026 favorite running backs to draft. But I have to say that because I'm out on him so far this year. I love the talent. I don't hate the situation that he is with Stefanski, but just this year it's up in the air. We've got 5 quarterbacks right now that we were talking about. One's not going to play, but he gets tossed in every now and then because he's what screwed this whole thing up here, folks. He is more of the bruising back than the receiving back, and
Yeah.
what's his touchdown upside? Like how many times is he truly going to be that close where he can smash it in? At running back 24, I just like him a lot closer to running back 30 as far as the price goes. It's just too much up in the air that could go wrong here.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that. I can definitely see this game script where it's like he's not a receiving back, and they bring in Dylan Sampson in, and they got to utilize him more as the pass catching type back.
They were number one in passing last year at 763 passes. The Browns
Yikes,
were.
and I don't see that not being any different.
Yeah, they only had 354 rushes. So if that continues, he's in trouble. Unless he catches balls like out the wazoo, which it's kind of in his profile, but it's kind of not because Trey Henderson was there. So I don't know. Maybe he shocks me.
Yeah, maybe. Again, my bust, we just touched on it. It's the middle round tight ends. I don't want any part of it. I think there's other guys there that can. Again, I think after tight end, you can even say 3. I'll give you George Kittle. After that, it's a coin flip. I think a lot of these guys can flip flop in where they finish, and I'd rather just build my roster other ways. It's T.J. Hawkinson. Again, there's J.J. who's arguably, in my opinion, one of the best wide receiver in the game, and then there's Jordan Addison, and then there's Aaron Jones, and they just added Jordan Mason. They revamped this whole line, and then there's T.J. Hawkinson, and then for whatever reason they took in the 3rd round the wide receiver from Maryland, like
Trey Felton.
Trey Felton. Yeah. So like,
and they've also got Naylor who steps in from time to time to get a good touchdown.
It's just a lot of mouths to feed, and then we both like JJ McCarthy just because we like Kevin O'Connell as a play caller. So like we like that idea. Again, he makes things happen with quarterbacks who tries to hide their deficiencies. We just don't know if JJ's gonna be good though. We really don't. At the end of the day, we think he will just because we trust Kevin O'Connell, but we don't know. And TJ Hawkinson falls in that line of just like I don't want to gamble on that.
Round 8, here we go. It's the booms, it's the beauties, it's the ones we're going for. Look, if you cannot decide which skill player to attack on the Bears offense, but you're excited about it, this is what you do. You miss out on early quarterbacks, you start going in the mid-tier or the mid-round quarterback. So I'm taking Caleb Williams here in round 8. You've got Kyler Murray as well, who I enjoy. Brock Purdy, I think, is just right around there. But Jared Goff, here we go. Got to get that last line stab in there. Why is he going right around Caleb Williams? There's no rushing upside. Caleb's got a little bit of wheels. He's got some improbability, and just this offense should be elite. My bust is going to be Travis Kelce, mid-round tight ends. Goodbye. We've been over it now for 3 rounds. Brendan, who you got?
All right, so I love Jaden Reed in this round. The first few weeks are great, and obviously it took a downfall. I get it. They took Matthew Golden, but he made it very clear that he is the alpha of this room, that he wants to be the head guy. I just think this is the discount. You're going to get, potentially the leading targets for Green Bay this late. I'll take a chance on it.
But you're not taking a chance on who?
I'm not going to take a chance on Stephon. Week 4 is the start. Oh, it might be now week 1, but again, coming off an ACL where he tore it late, he's over the age of 30. I get it. He probably might be the best receiver in that room. I don't want to sit there and be holding the bag, waiting for this guy to finally blossom, because then it might take some games to get under his belt to get, to the receiving where he wants to be or where you want him to be. And I just don't want to wait that long because it could cost you a season.
All right. Off to round 9. My beauty is going to be Michael Pittman. Yes, ignore the horseshoe behind me, folks. But at wide receiver 50, you're telling me the guy that got, 120 some targets last year with a broken back and a quarterback that some people don't even call a quarterback. You can't not take a shot on him here in round 9. You've got dart throws all over here. Some are good, some are bad. And I just think Michael Pittman's a great one. Whether or not he's the number 1 receiver on the team. Number 1 target as far as the wide receiver room. He's probably the number 1 wide receiver, but Josh Downs will probably finish with more receptions in this offense this year. But Michael Pittman's a great grab for me. And then my bust, it's Johnny Smith. We're beating the drum of the tight ends here. I'm not playing the game. Does he replicate it this old? There were so many
breakout
funny things
season
happening in
at like
Miami.
almost age 30.
I don't want to do it. I'm rooting for him. Him as a player, I'd love to see what he did. I love him helping out the tight end room, but that's not a risk that I'm taking. Let me take a swing on Pittman.
Fair enough. Yeah, for me, it's this is like this is round 9. Now it's bench spots and everything else like that. This is where I start to feel comfortable taking a tight end. And the last guy here is Evan Ingram, and I like the situation. Sean Payton went out to go get him. Sean Payton didn't draft a tight end, so Evan Ingram has for me, it seems like a very good role in this offense. I like Bo Nix as a passer. I think those short dump offs. I think I like Evan Ingram more in a full point PPR league. Let me make that very clear. So, if it's a full point PPR league, I love Evan Ingram. If it's half point, I'm probably a little more hesitant. So, this is more so towards a full point. So, I like Evan Ingram's role. My bust is Matthew Golden. I just his profile, it's good. Obviously, draft capital around one. Green Bay has never taken one. This might be a reason why they don't do it, because they just take some weird guys. Excuse me. I think Jaden Reed's a better receiver. I watching the tape of Matthew Golden. I get it. Quinn Ewers is the quarterback. There's something about I get it. He's super fast. I just don't think it's going to translate to the NFL at the level you think it will.
And last year, not seeing a single wide receiver over 20% target share it makes you hesitate.
Mm-hmm.
Matthew Golden would be the type of receiver to beat that, to still break his ADP while still being under 20%, because he is that field stretcher, is the long one. But he's also a rookie, so if it takes him 6 weeks to come along, you're essentially lost out on the draft pick. You might as well pick him up off waivers later on. And Darnell Mooney's going right there. I love it.
I think we both like Darnell Mooney.
Oh, man. Look at us agreeing again. We shouldn't be doing that so much.
Exactly.
Round 10. Let's finish it off. My bust is Travis Etienne. Honestly, at RB37, it's not a bad shot. It's really not a terrible throw, because round 10, if you got to drop him after a couple of weeks, it's not the worst thing in the world. But I just don't know if I want to dabble into him and trying to figure out what's happening there, because what if he has 2 good weeks out of the first 4 weeks? Do I continue to hold on? Do I wait to see if Bashaw Tutin, if Tank Bigsy's still in the touchdown work? So I am staying away from Travis Etienne yet again this year. David Njoku, it's tight end time, folks. This is where we're picking him up. This is a guy I'll take a shot on at tight end 10. A guy that was tight end 6 on the final, I think, 10 games last season. If they're hurting like we were talking about as far as the game script, this is the guy that is just going to absorb targets.
Yeah, so the guy I like the most here, he's going at QB 16. It's Drake May. Again, if you punt it on quarterbacks and you're looking to take a guy, like I'm taking Drake May. It's second year, sophomore season. Look, McDaniels is the play caller. He's a very good offensive play caller. Terrible head coach. Very good offensive play caller. Makes his guys succeed and puts them in the right positions. I will give him the credit for that. And he's got the rushing upside. He's got that in his profile. So I'm gonna gamble that he finishes ahead of QB 16. And then my bust is Javonte Williams. Again, hey, Brian, you want to know who's taking first team reps at running back right now for the Dallas Cowboys?
Get Miles Sanders and his BS talk.
It's Miles Sanders. You can sit there and be like, oh, well, like Miles Sanders is bad. Is Javonte Williams really that much better than Miles Sanders? Like, I'm just asking a friend here.
Are you taking Ramondre or Javonte? You're taking Ramondre.
I'm taking Ramondre. Again, like Javonte's bad. Ask Broncos fans. Ask anybody who had to watch him play. I think there's a few games where they're on the goal line and they gave him the ball 3 times in a row and he could not get 1 yard to get a touchdown. Again, you can't get a yard, I'm out.
Well, I'll continue crying with him on my ceiling and the big fat head that I have of Javonte. Maybe one day. Folks, that is going to wrap it up for our beauty and the bust. That is going to be 10 rounds of our favorite picks and our scariest picks, the ones that we just cannot fully click that button on. If you're looking for more of us, come on over to our Too Much Fantasy Football channel. We're having a lot more fun. Not a lot more fun. We're having a lot of different fun over there. More fantasy football talk, some historical drafts, lots of stuff there. Otherwise, we're going to see all of our stuff here on the Fantasy Football Advice Network. It is Too Much Fantasy Football. Brandon, before we get out of here, tell the folks, where can they find you?
You can find me on X at Too Much Beamwalk. That's basically where I be at. So,
and then is at Too Much _Brian if you're looking for me. Until next time, folks, we got to get out of here. We'll see you then.